We are anonymous. No faces, no flags, no permission slips. And today I've got a story that practically writes itself. JD Vance just run away as he got horrible news about his future. Not metaphorically, emotionally. Like a guy speed walking out of a furniture store the moment he sees the price tag. So here we are, Vice President JD Vance, the one people keep dunking on as a racist Care Bear in political commentary, just caught some bad news about his 2028 prospects. And you know he's at home pouting on the couch. Or maybe he's just there because it's close to Valentine's Day. Either way, the timing is chef's kiss, because it's the exact moment his ambition is leaking out of him like a cheap air mattress. And before we get into the meat of it, I'm going to do the thing every YouTuber does and pretend I hate doing it. If you want to stay on top of breaking U.S. political chaos, follow and subscribe. Yeah, I know we all roll our eyes, but if you need an excuse for a party, that doesn't involve the Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, the Oscars, or anything else that reminds you you're single or steals 4 hours of your day. Hit subscribe and let's keep moving. Now back to furniture connoisseur JD Vance. You may recall he recently announced he was expecting his 4th child with his wife, Usha Mazel. But what matters politically is the same thing. That always matters with this guy. Vance wants to be president like a tick wants blood. He's so thirsty for 2028 that he's already scooping up endorsements more than 3 years early. And here's where it gets spicy. Erica Kirk, the widow of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, and now the person running the organization, her late husband, publicly endorsed JD Vance for president in 2028 at Turning Point USA's big annual event, America Fest. That endorsement happened on stage, opening remarks, big splashy moment, the kind that's supposed to scream heir apparent. Vance hasn't even publicly announced whether he intends to run in 2028, but the endorsement train is already doing donuts in the parking lot. And yes, because politics is basically high school, with nuclear codes, commentary immediately swerved into rumors. People started saying that premature endorsement doesn't exactly squash whispers that Erica Kirk and JD Vance might be having an affair. I'm not stating that as fact, because unless you've got receipts, it's gossip. But it's absolutely the kind of rumor mill that erupts when someone's suddenly boosting you this hard, this early. The original script even cracks that she looks like something I once saw at Rooms to Go, which is mean juvenile and also very on brand for the internet. But if you think this bodes well for JD, think again. Because the real story isn't the endorsement, it's what's happening around it. Vance himself has basically admitted he thinks Donald Trump wants to handpick the 2028 Republican ticket. And Trump's own comments have fed that idea because Trump can't help himself. He treats the GOP like a reality show casting call, and everyone in his orbit is either auditioning, begging, or pretending they're not even thinking about it. A P is reported on Trump keeping would-be successors competing for his favor, and on Trump floating Vance as a favorite while also praising others. In one widely circulated exchange, Trump was asked point-blank whether JD Vance is the MAGA heir apparent. Trump basically said, look, he's the vice president, so yeah, probably favored. But then he also tossed in Marco Rubio, saying Rubio might get together with JD in some form. Translation: Trump can't just anoint someone cleanly. He has to keep everyone scrambling, because that's how he stays the sun, and everyone else stays a planet. And here's the funny part. Trump's little fantasy that Vance and Rubio would run together is hilarious when you consider the mounting evidence, at least in political reporting and commentary, that these two don't exactly adore each other. Rubio has run for president multiple times, and he desperately wants the job. Meanwhile, Vance has his own patron saint situation. The original commentary claims he's in the pocket of billionaire Peter Thiel, and that he clashes with Rubio on policy issues. Again, I'm flagging that as the original commentators framing, not courtroom fact, but it's part of the ecosystem of how people are reading Vance's loyalties and Rubio's ambitions. Now here comes the horrible news moment, the part where JD Vance emotionally runs away. Because while Vance is out here collecting early endorsements like Pokemon cards, the data signals he's not coasting upward, he's wobbling. A journalist analysis circulating in local outlets pointed to Kalshi, a prediction market site showing movement that should make Vance sweat. Rubio's implied odds rising fast, while Vance's number slips below that psychologically important 50% dominance vibe. That exact snapshot moves around day to day. But the broader point is real. Prediction markets have been tracking a race where Vance leads, but Rubio has been climbing, and the gap isn't a comfy mattress anymore. And yes, the numbers fluctuate, but here's what matters. On Kalshi's own market pages, you can see Rubio as a significant contender, and Vance no longer looking like some untouchable juggernaut. The very existence of that movement is the bad news headline. because Vance's entire brand is inevitability. The second inevitable starts looking like maybe the spell breaks. Then there's the even nastier problem for him young voters. Polling and focus group reporting, tied to Democratic strategist Sarah Longwell's operation, has shown young pro-Trump voters sounding unimpressed by Vance as a 2028 standard-bearer, with Rubio faring better in some of that commentary, especially among young men. And nothing ruins a politician's day faster than realizing the future of the party doesn't want you to be the future. So imagine the scene. Vance hears the chatter, Rubio creeping up, younger voters shrugging, the heir-apparent crown slipping sideways. And that's when he runs away, not from a podium, from the realization that his Trump-branded rocket ship might be dragging him down instead of lifting him up. Because the biggest issue isn't even Rubio, it's Trump. Donald Trump remains a political anchor in the worst way. He demands total loyalty, hogs all the oxygen, and then leaves everyone around him holding the bag when the public turns sour. That's not just vibes. Polling into early 2026 has shown a lot of dissatisfaction and anxiety around politics and governance, and multiple surveys have pointed to slippage and backlash under Trump's second-term agenda. And Trump's little empire runs on humiliation. If Vance and Rubio marry themselves to Trump's administration, they inherit the baggage, the chaos, the scandals, the whiplash, and the inevitable burnout. It's the George W. Bush 2008 effect. When an administration gets toxic enough, it drags down the entire party. And neither JD Vance nor Marco Rubio has Trump's attention-hijacking ability. They don't have the same cult of personality pull. They don't have that creepy reality TV magnetism. They're charisma deficits in suits. And deficits don't unite a party. They split it into feuding little factions fighting for scraps of Trump's approval like seagulls in a parking lot. So yeah, that's the horrible news. JD Vance can grab endorsements, smile for cameras, and pretend he's inevitable. But the numbers can move, the kids can cringe, and Trump can poison the well so thoroughly that whoever drinks from it in 2028 ends up choking. If you want more of this, more receipts, more pressure on Trump, and the obedient little satellites orbiting him, hit subscribe, share this with one person who still thinks the GOP is normal, and drop a comment. Do you think Vance is actually built for 2028, or is he already sprinting away from his own future? We are anonymous. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.